Good afternoon, guys. We do not have a Zoom session today. However, I would like you to get on to Google Classroom. In the stream, posted in the stream is our attendance form for today. So if you notice, it is the first item on the stream. Go ahead and click that and get that filled out before you head to classwork to watch the rest of the video and to finish your assignment for today. Okay, so our assignment for today is over exponential functions and determining whether they are growths or decays. So here, looking at the first slide, this is your first slide in your Pear Deck. I'm sorry, hold on, let me backtrack real quick. In Google Classroom for today, our date is 1/12. The title is Exponential Growth and Decay. You're going to have the attendance form linked again. If you already filled it out once, you don't have to fill it out again. And then it'll either say link or sign in for you to click on your assignment. That's your Pear Deck. And this video will be attached also, so that'll be 3 things. And then I'm not going to attach it, but you can also use Desmos, remember, to help you with graphing or, I don't know, finding square root maybe if you need it, or squared. Okay, so just know that it's there, it's an option. So back to our Pear Deck. You've already clicked it, you're signed in, everything. Here's slide 1. Okay, an important thing to remember about exponential functions is where the x is located. Okay, we're not going to be plugging in numbers for x. Instead, x is going to stay in that location or in that spot. Okay, so I want you to write what the equation looks like. Sorry, I got interrupted. So on slide 1, go ahead and give me what the equation for an exponential function looks like. Okay, slide 2. You are highlighting or coloring in the boxes red if they are a growth function, and you are coloring or highlighting the boxes blue if they are decay. So you gotta remember which portion of the equation represents growth or decay. So what letter tells you that it's gonna be a growth or a decay, and then you have to remember what parameters are set to make it grow or decay. Okay, slide 3. What I did was I took 2 examples from the slide before, and now you're just going to give me a rough sketch. So it doesn't have to be exact, okay? You are going to fill in the blanks. So once you identify what the A is, go ahead and fill that in. The B, fill it in. Circle whether it is a growth or decay, and then draw me a little sketch of what you think that looks like. Okay? Then I want you to fill in the domain and the range. Remember, the domain and the range stay the same for exponential functions. Okay, so once you figure it out, you know it, you learn it, it's going to stay the same for exponential. Okay? Okay, convert each of these percents to decimals. So even if the percent already includes a decimal, right, you still have to divide by 100, move it 2 times to the left, or use Desmos to help you get rid of that the percentage sign. Sorry. So for example, you can take your 1.25% and you can divide it by 100. Okay, whatever you get is your decimal answer. Okay, that's one way. The other way is to take your decimal and move it 2 times to the left. Okay, the hard thing about that is remembering to move it, right? So you're taking your decimal, you move it 2 times to the left. So your answer would be 0.0125. okay? And then the last step, of course, would be in, sorry, this is giving me a hard time. The last step would be to use it in Desmos, right? And you would put 1.25%. It's of 1. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, so let's see, 1.25. If you do shift and the number 5 at the same time, percent of 1, see how it gave me my answer? 0.0125. So there's 3 different options, 3 different ways for you to, convert those, okay? If you remember to move the decimal 2 times to the left, move it and you're done, right? If you remember that you need to divide by 100, then choose that way, right? And then, of course, you can always use Desmos or the calculator to help you. Got it? Okay. So with word problems, okay, we briefly went over in our notes some words that indicated what an exponential function word problem might look like, right? But we didn't really talk about how to write an exponential function from a word problem, okay? So this is just a small detail, but it's probably the most important, okay? So once you know whether your problem is increasing or growing, right? And then decreasing or decaying, there are some steps that you got to do to figure out your B value. So the one that's inside parentheses, right? So if it's increasing or growing, that means that we have to do 1 plus whatever percentage they gave us. Okay? So for example, this one says growing each month at a rate of 5%. I know that it's a growth problem because growing, right? I know my percent is 5%, right? So I went ahead and I converted that already. I moved my decimal 2 times to the left, so I know it's 0.05. So in order to figure out what my B actually is, right, I have to do 1 plus whatever decimal I got for my percent. Okay, so then my B value is actually going to be 1.05. That is what I would use in my equation. Okay, so then now if your problem is decreasing, we know it's decreasing because the words in the problem tell me depreciates each month at a rate of 18%. So instead of adding 1 to it, we're going to have to do 1 minus whatever decimal we got. So 18% really means 0.18 right here, right? So then what I do is 1 minus 0.18. Okay? Sorry. All right, so you can try doing that in your head. I do not suggest it. Okay, you can do it on paper by hand, 1.00 and then subtract. It's a little more confusing with these because it does have a decimal. So if you do need to use decimals, that's fine. 1 minus 0.18. So my B value is actually going to be 0.82. Okay, and so now I can see that my B value is less than 1, right? So then I know that, yes, it's true, it is a decreasing problem. Okay, and up here at the top for the increasing, you see how it's above 1, 1.05, so I know that, yes, that is indeed a growth. Okay, so looking at this next example, we're going to answer the questions based off of the information that we're given, right? So most important, first off, is your equation, okay? One of those numbers represents the A, the other number is the B. We need to remember what the A stands for and what the B actually is, okay? That number, the B number, tells us, right, whether it's a growth or decay, and then we should be able now to determine the percent of change, right? I know it's a growth problem, So let's try to work this number out right here to figure out the percentage of how it changed. Okay. So once you determine, right, where you're going to plug in this 2000, you can use Desmos to help you. Okay. So you're either going to plug in that 2000 for the Y, and you're going to solve for the other letter, or you're going to plug it in for the X, right, and solve it that way. Okay. That one really is just a plug in and simplify problem or part. The one I really wanted to look at was this one. I wanted to kind of help you through this. Okay, so if we look here, remember we're trying to write an equation that looks like this. Y equals AB to the X power. Okay, population of 800 beetles is growing each month at a rate of 5%. So I know that 8,000 is my A value. 5% is going to be my B, right? But I can't just use that 5%. I've got to convert that 5%. Oops. That really means 0.05, right? Because if your decimal's here and you move it 2 times to the left, that makes your number 0.05. So that's what I said, 0.05. But remember, it is a growth problem. So we have to add 1 to that. Okay, so when I'm writing my equation, y equals, my A value was 800, right? My B value is going to be 1.05, right? Because we did 1 plus whatever our percent was, and then that is to the X power. Okay? So now, okay, it does not tell me that X is time in months, but I'm telling you, okay? So X is usually time. So let's go ahead and plug that in how we would solve it. Y is equal to 800, 1.05. Instead of X, I'm going to put an 8. And so now we're going to go to Desmos. Okay? I don't think we can do that in our head. So I'm going to take my 800. I don't have to do the Y equals part. I'm going to do 800 times 1.05. Let's go ahead and put let's do it on the outside. We'll try it both ways and see. To the X. That did not work. So now we see that we're going to have to do it. The X with the 1.05. Good thing I figured this out. And that's probably why it didn't work. I didn't put 8. Duh. Okay, but I'm going to try 2 different ways just to make sure that it doesn't give us something different based off of how we input it. So the one that you need to press, remember, is AB. We put it to the 8th power. Okay, so either way, it doesn't matter which way you enter it. You can either put the 8 inside parentheses with your B value, or you can put it on the outside. Okay, either way, your calculator knows to do exponent first. Okay, so our answer would be 1,181.96, right? Or we can say 1182. Let's just round up to the nearest whole bug. So 1182. About how many beetles will there be? And that's why it says about how many, because it's just an estimation. So 1,182 beetles is our final answer. Okay, so you've got the remaining slides to write an equation. Actually, this one is already written, so you just got to plug in. The next one, you are writing equation and answering the question. Okay, if you have any questions, guys, you can send me an email, or in Google Classroom you can reach out. If not, go ahead and jot them down and we'll talk about them next class. Bye guys, have a good day.